Hello, I am Elira,
And I'm Pia.
and we are from the University Pablo de Olavide in Sevilla. And today we're gonna present to you Marianne Weber's essay, Authority and Autonomy in Marriage. Here you can see our table of contents. First, we're going to talk about the biography of Marianne Weber, and then we will talk about her essay. First, the introduction, the history of marriage, marriage today, authority and autonomy in marriage, and then the conclusion. At the end, you can see the bibliography.
Marianne Weber was born on August 2nd, 1870 in Germany, in Erlinghausen, and died March 12th, 1954 in Heidelberg, also in Germany. She was a sociologist and a women's rights activist. In 1912, she published her essay Authority and Autonomy in Marriage. In this essay, she investigated marriage and the relations between the sexes. Therefore, she established two competing normative systems. The first one is authority, which is the dominant normative system where the man has the authority over the woman. And the other concept is autonomy, which is an ethical stand which arose in the 19th century in the Enlightenment and Puritanism, and which should free the women and therefore benefit both men and women. The fundamental assumption of Weber is that human beings shape one another in interactions, especially in sexual relations. Weber lobbied for a reform of the German legal provisions regarding marriage and demanded emancipatory reform. But Weber did not question the concept of marriage per se. First, in her essay, she tells the history of marriage. She states that at the beginning of history, women were seen as the property of men, and marriage was an insurance of women and children against the polygamous drives of their husbands. Later, when Christianity arose, marriage and monogamy were seen as an imperative for both men and women. But in the Bible, you can also find a quote which says, "Your will shall be subordinated to your husband, and he shall be your master." Later, when Puritanism became a religious strength, the thought of religious equality arose, and women were taken as serious for the first time. In German idealism, under Kant and Fichte, the development of a morally autonomous personality was seen as the main goal. But in case of women, this ideal was distorted. Women were declared as originally equal, but marriage was seen as a contract through which the wife voluntarily subordinates herself to the husband. Later, the industrialization led women away from their homes and thereby away from the sphere of domination for their husbands because they left to work, for example, in factories. This gave women more freedom and therefore more autonomy. Today, which in Weber's case was 1912, women have more opportunities and achieved legal status to speak for themselves. But Weber also states that in other areas, women are still denied that status. She says that today, or in 1912, the predominance of the husband is still legally protected. In the German civil code to that time, women's juridical competence and responsibility in business was recognized, but the competence of the housewife was limited whenever it threatens the husband's dominance. This also included women and men as parents, because, for example, in cases of difference of opinion, the father was always the one who had a veto or who was able to decide.
Now we're going to talk about the authority and autonomy of marriage. According to Marianne Weber, the lawmakers should make the woman's protection a priority. For that reason, they place the principle of the husband with the idea of companionship of the partners as a form of marriage and propose first the elimination of the husband's general legal decision-making authority, second, a different distribution of parental rights, such as in the event of unsolvable differences of opinion, the husband decides for the sons and the wife for the daughters. And third, they work to achieve, for the woman of all strata, a sphere of pecuniary independence secured through a more exact definition of the support obligations of the husband. She points out the ethical question whether authority or autonomy should shape spouses' relations, and she asks how the marriage looks like when, in accordance with its legal form, the fundamental authority of the husband really governs the relationship of the partners. To that, she has four answers. Weber says that then there is no doubt that the family and the house are the husband's sphere of domination, that the wife stands as a housewife and a mother under the husband, that she doesn't have a deciding voice, and that the wife can only free herself behind the husband's back, or it achieves suppression of her ability to reason. That is an atrophy of her entire intellectual and spiritual development. The influence of the patriarchal system cannot stop at matters that affect only the life of the family community. It extends to a way to influence the entire life of a woman. Whatever men do, it touches woman's life in some way. If women try to live their own life, men will do everything to ensure their position in patriarchy. They do that by suppressing their wives or controlling their wives. In that sense, patriarchal thinking of the man is dressed up as the concern that women are neglecting their family and children. Also, Weber says that women can only unlearn their submission of husbands to live without fundamental privileges of authority. If woman obliges her needs against her inner voice or to please her husband, she commits blasphemy against her own human dignity. Then she devalues herself to a second-class being. Suppressed women that couldn't achieve intellectual and spiritual development have no big value to their husbands. The husband sees her only as mother of his children and the source of his comfort. This cycle is only able to break by intense communication between the partners. Now we come to the conclusion. In contrast to other thinkers, Weber did not shy away from value assessments in her use of ideal types, and she offered autonomy as her ideal type of marriage. Additionally, in viewing the importance of ideals in history, the author recognizes that through institutions, though institutions had produced potentially liberating thought, powerful actors had manipulated and instrumentalized those ideas in the interest of patriarchy. Through her decision in the final portion of her essay, in a practical sense, the author demonstrated the deficits of authority in the reality of marriage. However, viewed theoretically, her examination revealed her theoretical assumption of the importance of marriage and all sexual relations for the development of the human personality. It also displayed Weber's understanding of the relations between social structure in the form of moral standards of conduct, individuals, and their interactions. And also, Weber believes that individuals' ability to achieve an individualistic enlightenment idea is dependent upon a structurally enforced form of principle, legally mandated autonomy in marriage. Here you can see our bibliography. Thank you for listening.